Hello and welcome. I am the Sterling and today we are playing Going Medieval. Now don't panic, nothing is wrong with your video. No, you haven't sat on the remote, nor is your YouTube settings incorrect. I am in fact fast forwarding through hours of gameplay at 10 times the speed. You see, we have been over farming and overproducing goods for a little while now. It was around the time I started to panic that we're running out of food and goods and went a little nuts. I think I went too far the other direction. Now, look, that's not the end of the world. It's given us a good opportunity to take all the farmers off farming, all the tailors, blacksmiths, craftsmen, etc. off their professions, putting everyone not cooking, not chopping wood, or not making limestone bricks into construction. I've done this in the pursuit to complete as much of the castle as I possibly can before I either run out of limestone or food. Now, initially the plan was for me just to complete the cathedral, so then I could deck out under its roof with seating, a crypt, a place to pray, and on top, the living quarters, finally giving us the opportunity to knock down the timber fort. And if you're anything like me, you've been looking forward to this day. But then the settlers took off building. And as you see, building in every bloody direction. It very quickly became apparent that unless I do what I did for the keep and prioritise every block, they would just build willy-nilly. And this worried me. Worried me that we'd run out of resources long before we had even made a dent in the cathedral. But then to my delight, and honestly to my surprise, it was making bugger all of a dent in the limestone I had. It came as a surprise because the wood supply staying strong made sense. Because, well, we were still chopping wood. But the limestone? I was confused. Right up until the point when I found the Sterling sleeping at the shack at the mine. Turns out mining was still a priority for the Sterling, and he was not just constructing, but also mining limestone as well. So hey, it was a happy accident. Don't get me wrong though, it doesn't last. I might get a massive chunk of the build done. In fact, we almost get everything we've planned out so far done. But our limestone supply is butchered, and we are now in desperate need for either wood or coal. But let's be honest, it's an easy fix. We are in no dire need for limestone for the moment anyway, as our next major project is digging those massive tunnels underneath the map that we planned out last episode. Worst comes to worst, we can always open up a new mine for limestone somewhere else. Now, if you don't want to watch the rest of the time lapse and you want to skip ahead, the time lapse itself finishes at 4 minutes and 24 seconds. Otherwise, if you're going to enjoy watching the time lapse, then sit back, grab a cold one, and enjoy the next minute and a half, give or take. I must admit, I really like what I've done here. That's looking pretty good. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still so much I have to do. But even as it stands now, I actually really like it. I'm happy with this. As you can see, I've got everyone urgently hauling the clay off the roof of the timber fort, and all the armor, leather, hay, all that sort of stuff that's in the timber fort, I'm having all that also moved. I think you can kind of guess why. But if you don't know why, stick around. It might get interesting. Now in the workshop of the timber fort, we still have quite a few workbenches, such as the bower's table, the sewing station, wood workbench, and the armourer's table. Now once the timber fort is gone, the armourers and the blacksmith and stuff will actually be in this corner. That's what this sort of area is going to be. But as for the other things here, I might just have a place for them. Now, wherever I build the bower's table, the sewing station, the wood workbench, things like that, I'm going to need space for storage, to store timber, fabric, the armors, the weapons themselves. So I am going to need room under the ground. That eliminates this room here. This room has the fermenting station underneath. That's where we're producing our wine, which means that room is no good. So then I'm going to have to build it in here. So straight off, what we'll do is we'll separate these two rooms by a corridor, and we'll have two rooms. One can be for the bower station, and then we'll have the sewing over this side. Fantastic. Now that's the walls in. We can now start putting the workbenches in themselves. So we'll start with the bower's table, flip it around, and we'll chuck it in the corner right here. Done. And we'll chuck in a wood workbench right here. Now we know from past experience we also need to add 2 tool shelves. So 1, 2. Done. Now because of that, that will become a workshop. On this side, we'll now add the sewing station. Done. Once again, 2 tool shelves to turn it into a workshop. 1, 2. Done. So now what we'll do is we'll come in this corner and we'll delete that floor there. And we'll come over here and delete this floor in this corner. Done. We'll then dig down one on either side. Once that's dug out, we'll put down a ladder and then I'll start digging out this whole floor on both sides for our underground storage for these workshops. Perfect. So now, coming over to the cathedral, we can start adding the beds and the braziers to the living quarters up above. And then we can start decking out the cathedral itself. Fantastic, that's the living quarters up top now taken care of. Now look, truth be told, we are well and truly got enough beds for everyone now. I doubt we're going to be getting too many more people. We are at 14 now. That's not to say we won't, but the more people you get, the less and less you're going to get people. But then again, famous last words. Knowing my luck, I've said, oh yeah, we're not going to get any more people. And I'll turn around in a couple of episodes, I've got 50 people. I'm going, well, I've never seen this happen before. But regardless, at this point, we've got more than enough beds. Now, this is where we're going to make a hard choice. As you see, there are 2 religions in this game. You have the Restitutionists, say that 9 times, and the Oak Brethren. Different settlers will have a different religion. When they practice their own religion, obviously they become happier, and when they practice someone else's, not so much. But we can only have one religion in this cathedral. That means I've got to build one religion here, and then I'll have to build a second place of worship somewhere else. But this is the hard choice. What religion am I going to have in our cathedral? Well, I've actually gone through and counted who swings what way. It is 7 for the Restitutionists, 8 for Oak Brethren. So guess what? This is going to be an Oak Brethren church. That will require us to have at least 1 Oak Brethren shrine and at least 2 Oak Brethren wall decorations. We cannot have any workstations, and we cannot have, as I said before, any Restitutionist shrines. So down the front here, we'll put quite a few of these shrines. We'll put just like so. That way there's plenty of place for worship and no one's waiting in line. Next, I want to light this place up. So we're going to put a whole bunch of stone brick braziers. So we'll put them behind the pillars as I have in the Great Hall. Done. Now for the wall decorations. I'm thinking we'll have them on the pillars. Something like this. There we go. Now, unfortunately, I would love for them to have some benches or some pews or something like that, because it would really add to the effect. But unfortunately, there is no such thing. So I'm thinking, if we can't have pews, then maybe some stone seats, just littered throughout. Fantastic. So now that's the main floor of our cathedral done. Though, I still might go through and add a few wall torches or something for a little bit of a touch, but I'll leave it like this for the moment. Now, that brings us to the crypt. So as you can see, I've already added a couple of priors, but now I want to go through and add a whole bunch of limestone sarcophagus. We'll give it plenty of room around them. So I'll add one there, maybe 2 spaces across like so. Another one, 2 spaces, another one. Same on this side. And there we go, done. As I was saying before though, I still might want to come through and add a few statues and such, but for the moment, we're done. Now for the fun part, bulldozing down the fort. This is going to be great. Now, as you see, we're not going to be lacking for any wood anytime soon. Now I got to go through and just finish deleting the rest of the stuff. Then I can start planning out the wall and the rest of this tower and everything else that we need to do for this corner. Truth be told, I half expected that corner tower to collapse. I wasn't 100% sure what part of the tower is actually self-supporting and what part of it was actually being held up by the fort. So at any moment now, that corner tower could collapse. Let's find out. No, it's still going strong. Have a look at that. I'm actually a little impressed, to be honest. Once again, I'm still surprised that that corner tower didn't collapse somewhat. Oh, we lost a corner. I knew something was going to have to fall. Now, let's plan out this wall. So we're going to add the soil first, like so, and back we go. Done. Now we'll do the corner tower. Pretty straightforward, just that, like so. That will be the doorway in, so we'll add the door. Fantastic. Next, add the soil on this side, and it will come up here, like so. And now we can add the back of the limestone wall. We'll run off there like that. There we go. Now we'll add the merlons. Perfect. Just having a look at this, not 100% sure. I've decided what I'll do is I'll just run it through here like so. Then we'll corner this pit here, like that. That will corner the other way, like so. And this one here can corner. And that is the corner and the wall done. Now, once they clear all this sort of stuff up and get a bit of this done, we can then come in and add the blacksmith and the armorer, and then that corner will be finished. Wow, it looks different without the timber fort. Much better. It's nice and open now. I like that. Truth be told though, I'm not 100% sold on the way this wall looks here from above. Side on it looks fine. But from even this angle, it just looks a little bit wonky, doesn't it? No doubt I'll probably have to come through and just have a bit of a tweak. Yeah, just having a look, sort of counting it up. I'll definitely have to come through and tweak it here and there, especially see this part here. That's not correct, but I'll work it out. Here they go, hard at work building inside the cathedral. They're not wasting any time. And there we go. It's officially become an Oak Brethren temple. I guess I should really stop calling it a cathedral then, shouldn't I? If it's going to be a temple. And there we go. They're just finishing up the last little bit of the corner wall. Now it's time for us to start planning out how exactly we want the armor smith and the blacksmith to look over here. So now that brings us to the research tab. We want to research blacksmithing for 30 chronicles. Done. We want to research steel for 30 chronicles and 15 textbooks. Done. And while we're at it, we should finally unlock crossbows. Done. Once we build up our supply of textbooks once again, we'll then come in here and research swords. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the bowers table and we're going to start making crossbows. Now to make crossbows, we're going to need wood and mechanical components. We're going to tell them to make 10. We don't have mechanical components just yet. So now it's time to plan out the blacksmith. I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do an outdoor sort of setup. Something like that. Now we can add the blacksmith forge, which we'll put it in here. Like so. Done. And we'll put in the armorer's table over here. Done. Now all that's left is to add a couple of tool shelves. Put one on this side. And then we'll put one on this side. And there we go. Now I'm not 100% sure whether or not that will still count as a workshop, given that it's got an open front. But one way to find out, eh? Now, I might just round off these ends to make it look a little nicer. We're going to need to start producing a lot more limestone bricks. We're out once again. Good news is, now we can start producing steel ingots. We don't always have a firm supply of gold and silver coming in. So I'm just going to grab hold of one of these smelting furnaces that's its primary job, and we'll just add steel ingots to it. Make them until we have, I've already got quite a bit of steel. I'm impressed with that. Don't know where I've been getting it from, to be honest. But that's too many. We'll make it 90. So every time we hit 90, it will stop. Now, our blacksmith forge is now being completed. So we're going to start making mechanical components. We're also going to start making short swords. And we're also going to start smelting items for metal. So we're going to go into the edit of the smelt items for metal category and bring it down to flimsy to sturdy quality will be melted down. And that will be for everything. We only want the good stuff. As for mechanical components, we're going to want to make them until we have, we'll say 10. No, sorry. We'll make it 20. And as for the short swords, we'll make 20 of those also. That way, we can start to get a bit of practice in building weapons so their level will climb by the time we actually start making weapons we want. Now, I want to force them to start building this tower. So I've put in a ladder here, so then they can climb down and get into the water, and then they can start building this. I have got a ladder that runs up the middle, but To build the ladder, you must either first build the wall for it to attach to, or you have to build the bottom rung of the ladder so then they've got something they can build on top of. So I can't necessarily build out and down, so I need to get them down here. And so I'm just going to start prioritizing them to build this down here, then hopefully from there we can start building up. And in fact, the first thing I'm going to tell them to prioritize is that ladder I was speaking of. There we go. That's our blacksmith now completed. And we're now finishing off the wall down here. I've had to build a bit of scaffolding so they can get up to build all the wall. After they've finished building the wall, I can then just come in and delete this scaffolding. Painstakingly, mind you, because I've got to delete that one, then that one, then that one, and then that. Well, actually, they can no doubt be deleted from the one below. But the one below, on the other hand, will have to be deleted one by one. It's an absolute pain in the butt. I really hate building scaffolding. I spend so much time deleting every individual bloody block. But hey, part of the game, isn't it? Now, once we've finished off with the wall, I can then get back to them building this tower. And then, other than the odd flag or this or that here and there, that's everything completed so far. We can start planning out new things, and we can actually start digging that tunnel. Because guess what? We still haven't dug the tunnel. And there we go. That's now that tower complete. And my word, have we done a lot this episode. Have a look at that. We finished the west wing, we've finished the cathedral, we've put in the blacksmiths, the fort has come down. We have accomplished so much in this episode. I'm really, really, really happy with this. But there is so much more I still want to do. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait for another episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.